Ladies and gentlemen, good morning everyone, and welcome to our first Rural Mobility Seminar of the Interact Baltic Sea Region project Mamba. What stands Mamba for? Mamba stands for Maximize Mobility and Accessibility of Services in areas affected by demographic change. Behind this somewhat complicated title, what it means is actually we want to improve livelihoods in rural areas by increased mobility and accessibility of services, plain and simple.
So in short, Mamba activities deploy tools such as mobility centers, pilots, seminars, workshops, study visits and conferences. And you can follow all these activities also on our website.
So Interact Baltic Sea Region, what it is about. So this program strengthens integrated territorial development and cooperation, and it aims to make region more innovative, more accessible, and also more sustainable. We now have 111 projects supported by the program, and this project deals with different type of aspects like innovations in the Baltic Sea region, efficient use of environmental resources in the Baltic Sea region, and of course sustainable transport.
We always look at rural regions and the situations in rural regions as a problem. But in the end, most people who live in rural regions or areas like to live there. And this is something that we often overlook when we deal with them, with those regions. And I think maybe the reason is that most researchers and most politicians make their decisions from their desks in any city. So maybe we need more research coming from rural areas and more decision-making power coming from rural areas. In our project, we started looking at the transport system as a whole and try to categorize that system so that in rural areas you have main relations which normally don't go to each village. You have side relations of public transport, and then you have a net, or you don't have a net of smaller links from the main and side relations to the villages. So this is just to give you a very rough idea of the different levels of the transportation system. And as you might know, the main relations are working quite well. The side relations, they are working, and but not always. And the dispersion is in the end the main problem. So not every village is connected to the network. And here you need additional offers and services, for instance, on a voluntary basis. So the Dörpsmobil is a mobile, automobile for villages. And it was founded, I'm going to tell you a bit more of the story of how the Dörpsmobil emerged. The very first of these e-car sharing services came up with the initiative of a mayor in a very small town in northern Germany, Klicksbüll. And this mayor, he was a retired, or he is a retired Lufthansa pilot. He had the idea to share his car, which he doesn't use all the day, and he had the idea to use regionally produced energy and to combine all this and serve the community. So this e-car sharing service has three components: a social component with the idea that people can participate in the car sharing, even if they don't have an own driver's license. It enhances mobility, and the idea was to close the gap in rural public transport, and it had the idea to support climate protection and to support and use renewable energies.
We're going to move over to our panel, and Angela Jane will be one of our panel speakers. I'm inviting also our project partners, Anna Berliner and Maximilian Elner, and also Elke Vandenbroek. She is our external participant from taxistop.be, which has a bunch of innovative mobility solutions. So much I can say. Moderated will be by my colleague Jakob Marx.
So this is probably not only a pure legal question, but it's also about politics. If you say you have certain people or institutions who are reluctant to what you're doing.
We had the same with the taxi sector. So we tried to launch the Mobi Twin app, and it's actually a service for the elderly, less mobile, in which they could book voluntary drivers that took them to the hairdressers, to the doctors, or to another appointment they needed. So they had better mobility. And then the taxi sector was like, but you're taking away our clients, so we had to explain it's not the same, it's a different type of service. So we really had to very well frame what we were doing. And talking about the Mobi Twin app, that's also a solution for rural areas, something that works in urban and even rural areas, because you book voluntary drivers. And it's nice to see it could be combined with car sharing. Also, I think I heard it here before that car sharing, I have the feeling it's one of those solutions that seem to work better and easier. It's easier to implement, I think, than, for example, a carpooling scheme. Since that's actually the core business of taxistop, the carpooling is ride sharing. Because in urban areas, the volume is very important. So to get a lot of people posting their trips and getting them matched. And you notice in rural areas, it might be more interesting to just focus on your big lines going in and out of your village. We had this great example from I don't know from which country it is, but it's called Taxito. And they actually had a system, so this is my village. I have to go to this village, and my bus service does like this. It goes first to another village, then you have to change bus and go to the other village. This line in public transport is missing. So they created the pole with your destinations on, and you go underneath the pole, your stop, your carpool stop. You go into the app, you say where you want to go, and it lights up on the pole, and then people driving by know, oh, the person wants to go to the next village, I can take him with me. So a very simple system actually helping people to to fill out the gap in public transport.
This is a non-profit initiative. And exactly, it relies often on volunteers and driven individuals, and that's also a possibility at the same time a big challenge of these solutions. Because what happens if one driven individual decides to step down? That is something that is happening now with the best best practice in Sweden when it comes to ride-sharing initiative. When actually the leaders of the initiative they decided to step down due to heavy workload, and then there is need, of course, then for the public sectors to step up and support in some way. And that's the process that they are waiting for now, waiting for support in keeping the platform alive and functional.
It's very important to not overburden these people, and maybe this is the best example that you said they stepped back because it was too much of workload. So the question is how the public sector can provide a good support for having a good voluntary service and not, let's say, putting all the burden on the volunteers themselves.
In these cases, the rural ride-sharing projects that we interviewed, they also feared the consequences of the Passenger Transportation Act, and that was actually the reason why they decided not to, because they wanted to pay the volunteers more, but in case that the service was qualified legally as a commercial service, they feared that they had to get the official permit, and thus decided just not to raise the payments. And yeah, I think that is clearly one regulatory burden also for these kind of projects, because I mean, paying might not solve all problems, but I mean, it is at least one option to make these services more sustainable.
When we speak of ride sharing, I was wondering who actually uses it, and maybe do you see any differences between the countries? Because if I imagine I would have to sit in a car with a stranger on sort of a semi-professional level, maybe, I think that a lot of people would not use it because they would feel uncomfortable in such a situation.
It comes down to a lot to information, marketing, and constant promotion of initiatives and showing good examples.
A good verification procedure for all users, and yeah, that they have the right driving license, that they are identified, so that can also raise acceptance.
And make sure that everyone in your village knows what services you have. If there are new services you want to launch, that they're aware of it. I've done projects with citizens, and when I simply said, I didn't know.
Adding to this, what was the effect in the village where the Dörfenbil was implemented? Some people were really excited by driving an electric car. They just bought one for themselves. So the question is this the effect we want to have? Partially, I would say yes. It's fine to have an electric car instead of one that is run by fossil fuels. But on the other hand, of course, somehow we also want to reduce the number of cars. So we should also think of the effects. So this is one effect, promotion of e-mobility. I think it's a nice idea. And as in rural areas, at least in Germany, I can only talk for Germany, most people have at least one car. Most households have rather 2 cars. It could address the second car ownership. And here I see the biggest strength in a car sharing system, that people don't have to afford a second car. They have one car for their own, and if they need a second car, they could use the car sharing car. And here I see the biggest strength of the system, at least in the first step.
What do you think, if you think maybe 10 years or 20 years ahead, how would rural mobility look like in the Baltic Sea region, or maybe in Europe in general?
I have the hope that technological innovation can help rural regions. Thinking of the upcoming of autonomous vehicles. Imagine if the autonomous vehicle comes to your house when you want to drive it. I think it makes things a little bit easier.
My hope is also that we're going to have a good cooperation between the public sector, the private sector, and NGOs and bottom-up initiatives, because I think cooperation in this process is crucial.
I don't think there is a silver bullet for solving all mobility challenges in the rural areas, but one solution, so there is a need to have a lot of different solutions together, and maybe with the help of digital platforms. I think there is good potential to have all the different solutions combined, providing information and booking and possibility to purchase the trips in one go. So yeah, having car sharing and public transport demand all in one, everything is needed.
I also hope there will be Mobi hubs in every rural village that will get you to your mobility and out of your village very easily.
It's not always about bringing people somewhere, bringing people to service, as we call it in Mamba, but it's also sometimes about bringing the services to the people.
Mēs esam globālas organizācijas sastāvdaļa. Šī te globālā labdarības organizācija ir Ronald House Charities. Un šai te organizācijai ir 3 galvenās pamatprogrammas. Tās ir vecāku mājas pie slimnīcām, kur vecāki var atrasties kopā ar saviem bērniem ilgāku laiku, kamēr viņu bērni saņem ārstēšanos slimnīcās. Tās ir ģimenes istabas slimnīcās, kas ir labi iekārtotas istabas arī ar mērķi, lai vecāki un bērni uztos ērti, kamēr bērni saņem šo ārstēšanos slimnīcās. Un šī trešā programma ir šeit mobīlie veselības aprūpes centri. Eiropā šādi ir 3, kas ir Vācijā, 1, Polijā 1 un pie mums Latvijā 1. Mēs strādājam kopš 2010. gada, tātad jau 8 gadus, un tā mūsu galvenā misija ir uzlabot bērnu veselības stāvokli visā Latvijā. Un tas, ko mēs darām, ir tas, ka mēs negaidām, kamēr bērni nāk uz Rīgu pie ārstiem, mēs vedam ārstus pie bērniem, tuvāk viņu mājām, un šādā veidā nodrošinām šīs medicīniskās konsultācijas bērniem, kuriem tas ir tik ļoti nepieciešams. Un tas mūsu ārstu galvenais darbs ir uzstādīt diagnozes. Nedēļā tie ir 2 līdz 3 izbraukumi uz šīm lauku teritorijām. Vienā izbraukumā reizē brauc 2 vai 3 ārsti. Un tas sastāv to, ka gadā mums ir aptuveni 96 vizītes uz šīm lauku teritorijām, aptuveni 45, ko mēs apmeklējam, lai nodrošinātu šo te profilaksi un sekošanu bērnu veselības stāvokli. Mūsu mobilais centrs vienmēr ir pilns ar bērniem, un tas ir tas mūsu moto, ka vizītē pie ārsta ir jābūt priecīgai.
Our mission is to maximize the economical, ecological and social benefits of car sharing in Belgium and Flanders. And we do that by defending the interests from car share operators in front of local governments, but also the regional and federal government. We develop and promote the general concept of car sharing, and we do inspiring pilot projects. How does it work? Cozy Car, for example, is a close community. For example, I have my own car. I want to share it with my neighbors or with someone else. We form a close group from 4 or 5 people, and within this group we share the car. Digage is exactly the same system, but for a very big group. For example, the city of Ghent has around 1,500 users and 150 cars in the system, and I, as a Digage member, I can use every car in the group. The system is very easy, it's with key swap, but the only thing this forms of car share provides is an online calendar where you can book the car whenever you want. 10 tips for you if you want to do something with car sharing in your municipality or in smaller towns. First of all, local governments are the key player. They have the tools to promote car sharing, they have financial tools. So that's very important. Second one is plan it. For example, thinking about hobbypunten. Third one, start with sharing your own fleets. As I said before, it's the first step towards integrating more car sharing into your local neighborhood, into your town. Be a role model, of course. Fourth one, promote car sharing in general. Don't promote the station-based. Promote all forms, very important. The fifth one, and maybe the most important one, is permanent communication on different levels and to different user groups. Sometimes you see local governments in Belgium, and especially now we have election in 2 weeks, and they say, yeah, we want to start with car sharing. And they put 2 or 3 cars in the city center or in the center of the town, and they say, yeah, we'll see if it works. No, that's not how car sharing works. It's a mental process where you have to go through. So promotion, very important. There has to be a car share. There has to be car sharing in certain periods in life when people move, when the car is broken. There has to be a solution, an alternative for their own car. The sixth one is don't focus on the first car. Very important in rural areas. If I go to a smaller town and I say, yeah, we want to replace all cars, then they say you're crazy, that's not possible. Focus on the second car, on the third car, as it has been said earlier before, very important. Cooperate, find the right partners, also crucial. We try to bring all the right partners together, but it depends from town to town. Be creative also, and be patient, maybe the one also very important. You cannot expect that a car sharing or a shared system will work within a month. Sometimes it takes months or years to be self-sufficient, so very important. And last one, if you remember the case from Mason and Hill country, then if it works there, then we can take it to. There's one last thing I want to add, I forgot to add it in my presentation, but we're also working on an international Green Deal on shared mobility, together with partners in Switzerland, Germany, the UK, the Netherlands, and France. So if there's any interest to team up, let me know afterwards and we can change contact. So thank you very much.